Of course, now the Reserve Bank of India issued final guidelines on new bank licenses and has made it pretty clear that any entity can apply. The question is, who are the contenders and how will the RBI ensure that only sound players enter the banking space? Anirudh Ghosh and Simran Gill explain.
With the central bank not barring any sector from applying for the bank licenses, corporate houses as well as NBFCs are gearing up to apply for the coveted license. Hopefuls include RIL, Tata Capital, L&T Finance, LIC Housing Finance, Reliance Capital, Religare, IDFC, Shrey Infra, Shriram Transport. Even so, the new banks will have to set up over a quarter of their branches in unbanked rural areas and meet the 40% priority sector targets. Not just that, the bank will not be able to lend to any of its promoter group companies, something that may just scare off a few non-serious players.
Banking is a strategic fit with what we do, and we will continue to look to options to enter this space.
It's interesting for us. 25% of the branches have got to be in rural is something that is very specifically very exciting to us.
For once, even the Finance Ministry is on the same page, insisting that only credible players will enter the space. It's clear that bringing in credible players with deep pockets who can reach the unbanked interiors is top of the RBI's agenda. There may be many in line, but the central bank will have the final say. Simran Gill and Anirudh Ghosh, ET Now, Mumbai.
RBI's new bank license norms do not explicitly bar any sector from applying, but from what we understand, applications from real estate companies may not find too much favour. Mrinalini Krishna is joining in with exclusive details on what she's picking up.
Well, what we are picking up from sources is that both RBI and the Finance Ministry are not very keen that real estate companies set up banks. In fact, which is why we are given to understand that realty companies may not get licenses to set up banks. The thinking really, as we are being given to understand by sources, is that in both the Finance Ministry and RBI, they believe that the real estate business is extremely speculative, it's extremely risky and highly volatile, and this is the degree of risk that they do not want associated with promoters of banks. They do not want this kind of risk to be taken in on the bank because of the promoters, and which is why what we are being given to understand is that they are not very keen that realty companies set up banks. In fact, the thinking within the RBI as well as the Finance Ministry is that there are many other domestic companies in other sectors that will be better candidates to set up banks, and while there has been no explicit bar on any sector as far as the new bank licenses norms that came out on Friday say, they believe that real estate companies may not really make the cut, while the bank licenses will only be given to those companies that meet the fit and proper criteria laid down by RBI. But clearly, both RBI and Finance Ministry not very keen with real estate companies setting up of banks. Remember, this is something that RBI had an issue with. Even at the draft norm stage, they didn't want real estate companies to get into bank licenses. So clearly, the thinking really, as we picking up from sources, is that real estate companies may not get bank licenses.
Okay, time to address some news that's just coming in, where Bharti, Vodafone and Idea have decided